Hi everyone, so I wanted to do this video to share some very straightforward bipartisan information on the logistics of the special election happening statewide in California. So a special election was triggered by the people of California to recall our governor Gavin Newsom. So the recall election is September 14th and mail-in ballots got sent over the weekend and this week. So if you are an active registered voter, then you received a ballot regardless if you choose to participate in the process or not. You're not tethered to any certain political party, meaning if you're a registered no party preference, independent, libertarian, Democrat, Republican, you can vote across the aisle. You can either mail in your ballot and track it online, or you can vote in person at different polling locations starting September 9th. And on your mail-in ballot, it does give you a location where you can cast your ballot as well. That's closest to where your registered address is. So you would bring in your mail-in ballot and then surrender it. If you choose to vote in person, then you would just cast your ballot there. There's no state measures on this ballot. There's going to be two questions on the ballot. The first is, should Gavin Newsom be recalled or removed from the office of governor? So if you want him out of office, then you would vote yes. And if you want him to stay in office, then you vote no. So 50% plus 1, which is the majority vote. If 50% plus 1 vote yes on this first question, then Newsom will be removed from office. So this needs a majority vote, and in California, that is defined as 50% plus 1. The second question and the last question on the ballot is going to have a list of 46 candidates. So I recommend, digging in deep into the candidates' vision for California, since they are going to be a replacement of Newsom and the rest of his term. So you want someone that is going to finish the rest of Newsom's term on a good note if you choose to vote yes on the ballot. You want someone to do a better job than Newsom, and you want someone that exemplifies the priorities of the state. So it's beneficial for a lot of people to be on this ballot because it brings in people to be involved in the process, whether you choose to participate or not, whether you choose to vote yes or no. Having that diversity is just going to improve the turnout of this special election for the state. There's no concept of splitting the vote for the second question. The replacement candidate on the second question is going to be decided by the plurality, meaning it's whoever gets the most amount of votes. So the winner could only win with just 10% of the vote. The winner with the most votes is going to win, regardless if they get the majority of the vote, or even if that amount of votes that they get is very, very little. My recommendation is, if you choose to participate in the process, do not waste your time writing in a candidate, even though there is a place for that in there. The write-in candidate has to be on the approved list of write-in candidates. You can look on that online. But in my opinion, if you choose to participate, I don't recommend writing in the candidate. There's a lot of qualified replacement candidates on different sides of the aisle that you can choose to vet for yourself. Now, do you have to vote on both parts? No, you can just vote on just one or the other, and your vote still counts. So for example, you can vote against removing Newsom on the first question, but you can also skip out choosing a potential replacement on that second question. If you oppose recalling Newsom, some people have asked, can I still pick a replacement candidate? And the answer is yes. A vote on the second question is not going to invalidate or affect your vote on that first question. Now, there's been some questions about, the process as far as casting your vote and elections. In my opinion, I think it's on our duty to fix the system if you choose to question it. If there's doubts, just get your answers questions and see if you can dig in deep and learn more about your community and what's going on. A lot of times when it comes to the government and, the register of voters and what's going on in your community, a lot of times it's on the earnest of the voter and we the people. So if election integrity is a concern for you, you can be a part of the process. You can volunteer and be a poll and ballot observer with Election Integrity Project. You can also work as a poll worker through the Registrar of Voters. For example, if someone passes away, it does take time for the Registrar of Voters to get the information. It's also on the burden of the voter to change their information online, if you wanted to change your political party, if you moved addresses, if you moved out of state, if you moved out of the city or out of the county. That is on the burden and the onus of the the voter to change the information. So, if there's any kind of irregularities, like sometimes it's not, on the government or on the register of voters, it's on yourself as a 18-year-old, at least, who's a registered voter, to be an adult and make those decisions themselves to ensure that the process is cleaned up and effective. So I do want to, relay that information. If election integrity is important to you, just be a part of the process to improve, because there's always room, to kind of improve these kinds of systems. So you can go online to volunteer for the Election Integrity Project. It's a bipartisan grassroots organization. Or you can work as a poll worker, which is a paid position. So since it's a statewide California election, you can search that up through the Register of Voters. Now, some questions I did want to address. Some people have asked, like, isn't there election in 2022, which is, typically like there's the national elections and then, there's like the statewide elections in 2022, 2024. The answer is yes. So the voters is going to pick someone for a full 4-year term in November 2022, and Newsom is already running. So this special election is going to be potentially for a candidate that's going to finish out Newsom's term for the rest until November 2022. So I did ask around for some questions in different forums. So I did want to address those as well. And so some people have asked about, the reasons for why Newsom should go or not go. So I wanted to share the case on why you should vote yes for the recall. So some different things that, like, I've kind of observed from afar, maybe some information has been relayed that the recall is going to cost $33 million and just a huge amount for the budget. But for the current budget, Newsom has already raised about $39 million for his own campaign as of July 29th. He also has the ability to raise an unlimited amount of funds for his campaign, and he's already spending over $100 billion for his own campaign. Some other things to keep in mind: this recall wasn't started by the California Republican Party. It was very purely grassroots by We the People, and that organization, California Patriot Coalition, it's affiliated with people from different kinds of political background. So there were Democrats involved in the process. There was non-party preference. There was Republicans. And to share some numbers, because I really want to hammer this point home, I did a quick Google search on the voter registration here in California, because I was curious about myself. And, just to kind of give some perspective, because a lot of people may have heard that this is a Republican recall. And I'm here to debunk that. So I did a quick Google search on California voter registration breakdown. And this is an odd number year report of registration. So this is for February 10th, 2021. So this is only about 6 months ago. So this is pretty updated. So for the report date for February 10th, 2021, the Democrat voter registration is 10,228,144 voters. Then for Republican, it's 5,347,377 voters. So for the Democrats, that is 46.2%, and Republicans are 24.1%. Then for no party preference, there's 5,258,223 voters. So that's 23.7%. And then there's other, which is 6%. That's 560 voters. So that being said, this recall would not have been successful without people from other affiliated political parties. So I did want to share that data because, it's been kind of marketed as a Republican recall, and that's a very dishonest depiction of it. It definitely would not have been possible without people coming together for, different reasons on why they felt like this special election needed to happen, regardless of whether a regular election was going to happen in 2022. So that being said, there's different reasons why people are upset with Governor Gavin Newsom's job of what he's done as a governor so far. And I would also add that it's about the direction of where the state of California is going as well. So these are kind of a list of host of reasons on why people feel Newsom needs to go and why California needs new leadership, along with, the decline of the state as a whole. So California has really been on decline for few decades in regards to crime, homelessness, cost of living, and education. Medical mandates have been, on the forefront. That's been impacting, different people from different walks of life. And these are just kitchen table issues that everyone across the aisle have been impacted by, whether they are aware of it, whether they're not, whether they agree with it or not. It definitely is at the forefront to where it's impacting your day-to-day life. So these are things of why people, are plugged in and why they feel a need to be involved in the process of this special election, and why there are people that are unsatisfied and want the state to go in a different direction than where it has been going or where it's seemingly going to go. Some other reasons that people are impacted, school shutdowns for children. So families are impacted and parents. There's a mental health crisis. There's drug abuse. One infamous event that did happen, that did, upset the voters of California was Gavin Newsom went and had dinner with a bunch of different special donors and lobbyists at a French Laundry, which is one of the most affluent restaurants in the entire world. And then he did this while he authorized certain government orders for people to kind of compromise and make adjustments to their day-to-day life. So basically, he wasn't following those same orders that, he had executive and implemented himself. Some other additional reasons why people feel unsatisfied with the state itself, why Newsom. Basically, Newsom had extreme government overreach, so massive executive orders. He acted without the California legislatures, which is the state assembly members, mandatory mail-in voting, ongoing shutdowns, loss of jobs, loss of small businesses. There's this proposition called AB 5, and that affected independent contractors. We also have the highest homeless rate in our nation. There's a proposition called AB 145, which decriminalizes sexual crimes against children. Newsom also had a planned release of 90,000 criminals from prison. California has the highest state income tax in our nation. We have the highest poverty rate in our nation. There's a proposition called Prop 47, which reduces felonies to misdemeanors of violent criminals, which is in correlation with the high homelessness and the high crime rate within California. Some other additional things, we have the highest gas tax in our nation, and this was before 2020. Some other things, illegals are given income tax refunds, welfare, medical insurance, housing, education, food stamps, and cell phones. The funds for the bullet train haven't really been stewarded properly. Also, Newsom has refused to set up a water claim system with taxes collected to do just that. There's a lot of wildfires in the Central Valley and in more dry agricultural areas. So there's been a lot of huge disconnect in regards to these more rural and agricultural areas of the state. And, those are just kind of like a list of reasons why people feel upset on the leadership of California, in particular, our governor, Gavin Newsom, along with, where the state has been going. And I do want to reiterate that these kinds of things have been going on for quite some time, but it just have progressively gotten very worse. So that's why I did want to shed light in regards to why the people of California, from all political affiliations, wanted to come together to really have this opportunity to make their voice heard, on why they feel that, the state really needs a change of leadership and a change in, what needs to happen to get the state back on track. So I think it would behoove you to reconsider, does the state of California deserve better? Why are people leaving the state? Sure, we can go around and argue by bullet point, why the governor should stay or not. But I think that it's so much more. It's about the state of where the state is going. The people that have fled California over several years on end, they're not the rich and affluent people. They're not the business owners, not the entrepreneurs. These are middle-class, hardworking, working-class Americans who do love the state, but they see no other option, and they look at other states and the direction that it is going, and it just seems a little bit more appealing to them because of these host of reasons that I gave. So I argue, we do have an option if you choose to take advantage of it. If you've been unsatisfied with the direction of California, where it's going, if you've been unhappy with Governor Gavin Newsom, this is your chance to make your voice known. So check your voter registration status, figure out your game plan, to vote, whether that's in person or to take advantage of, the mail-in ballots. You can check the status of your ballot online if you do a quick Google search through your register of voters in your county. And if you have questions, you can comment or message me, and I'll take some time this week to respond. But other than that, thank you.